Okay, so I kinda wanted to make this just a simple, elegant release trailer telling you all to go play this thing, but I feel like this game is better enjoyed knowing the full context of its development. So in case you haven't seen my Grandma Pong video, I took a game design class during the 2019 to 2020 school year in 11th grade. Our first project was to make a Pong game, and I eventually came up with the idea for and ended up making Grandma Pong, a simple Pong game with two grandmas hitting a cookie back and forth that is definitely going to become the next big indie sensation come 2036. I was telling a friend about it, and she kinda jokingly suggested to make a Flash game review on it, and I was just like, okay, sure. By the time I finished and uploaded that video, I had already begun working on my second game. Or, well, I guess third if you count Mario Block game, but that one was just for extra credit. This time we were making a Space Invaders type game, and I came up with a theme and began working on it. Development was going smoothly. By the end of February, I was already done with most of the graphics and animations, and really only had to implement the code. But then, it happened. Thanks to a certain funny little virus going around, schools were closed and I couldn't work on the game anymore. When the school finally regrouped and started posting remote learning assignments, my game design work was just relegated to watching random videos and answering questions. I was really disappointed I wasn't able to finish my game. But that disappointment turned to fear the moment I remembered one little detail. My school wipes the students' files from the server at the end of every school year. I had to somehow find a way to get in there, move the files to a USB flash drive, and get out, all while a highly contagious virus we didn't understand yet was floating around. Luckily, it was a lot easier than that, because after emailing my teacher, I found out the school would retrieve your files for you if you just filled out a form. So I went to my school for the first time in months just to pick up a tiny USB drive and a plastic bag from the front entrance. I was so relieved that all of my hard work was saved. And then I realized something. I didn't have any means to finish the game on my own. I couldn't get Adobe Animate on my computer, at least not legally, and even if I could, I didn't have the code that the game required to run. So I just kinda left the files on my computer. The game stayed incomplete for well over a year. I knew I wanted to finish it eventually, I just didn't know how. Even after starting 12th grade all virtually, it was still in the back of my mind. It wasn't until May of 2021 that I finally decided to return to school in person, and one of my classes just so happened to be right next door to my old game design class, and my next period just so happened to be a study hall. So after a week of building up my courage, one Monday I walked in there and went, hey, can I make video game? Oh yeah, sure. And so, for the rest of the school year, I would go into my game design class every day during study hall and was finally able to finish Clippy's Windows Defense. And the only downside was I had to listen to some freshman complain about her boyfriend every day. My teacher just sent me the code file instead of having me copy it manually, and within the first day, the game was fully functional. It was extremely cathartic to finally see the game working, but I wanted to enhance it even further. I redrew many of the graphics to give the game a more stylized and consistent look, I added sound effects, and even a few extra things like a blinking animation for Clippy. And that was that! After beginning development in December 2019 and eventually being completed in June 2021, Clippy's Windows Defense is finally ready. So I guess I should talk a bit about the actual game briefly. You play as the best non-video game candidate for Smash Bros. Clippy and blast computer viruses. Use the arrow keys to aim left and right and press space to shoot. If you want to play it, I should let you know that after clicking start, you have to click on the screen again to be able to control the game. I don't know why that happens and I don't know how to fix it, sorry. You have 50 shots per game and have to get as many of them to land as possible in order to get the highest score. I think one of the biggest advancements this game has over Grandma Pong is the fact that it has multiple screens. A title screen, a gameplay screen, and a game over screen. I was really proud when I came up with the game over screen. I think it's really funny and fitting for the game, even more so with the sound effect I added. And since there's absolutely no way someone's gonna find this on their own, here's a little Easter egg I added. If you look at the mountains in the background, occasionally an almost invisible face will appear. This is none other than Doug Winnie. He used to work at Adobe and created a video series where he taught ActionScript. My game design teacher would often assign these videos as homework for us, and I was fine with that because honestly, I love this guy. There's just something about Doug Winnie's face and tone of voice that is oddly soothing. He made me want to learn even more. So I decided to include him in the game to honor his work. And to this day, he's still getting those epic victory royales. Godspeed, Doug. Godspeed. Anyway, I'm pretty proud with how Clippy's Windows Defense turned out. Especially compared to Grandma Pong, this one is way better. It's definitely very simple, but I feel like it's fairly high quality for being a school project made in Flash. I wanted to make this game easier for you all to try out, so I've decided to post it on Newgrounds. You'll need the Newgrounds player to be able to play it, but once you have that, it works perfectly. You can find the link in the description. Additionally, there's also a download for the Swift file so you can play it offline, or I don't know, do whatever you want with it. I also put Grandma Pong on Newgrounds a while ago, so you'll be able to play that classic as well. But we're not done quite yet. After finishing Clippy's Windows Defense, I still had a little bit of time before graduation. My teacher suggested that I could make another game, a top-down racing game, which would have been the next game we made in class if, you know, that didn't happen, and I of course agreed. This time I came up with the title and theme almost immediately. Grandma Pong Grand Prix. Because if Grandma Pong is going to be a real franchise, it has to have a kart racing spin-off. I realize the game being called Grand Prix is kind of misleading since there are no other racers, but come on, I had to come up with a way to use that acronym. In total contrast to Clippy's Windows Defense taking a year and a half to be finished, GPGP was developed within the span of 2 weeks. And it kinda shows. In the initial template I was given, the car's turning speed was painfully slow, so I ended up finding the value for the turn speed in the code and changing it myself, which I think really improved the game. This game is really basic. All you do is drive a single lap around a track. Try to aim for the lowest time. That's literally it. And fun fact, the trees were a literal last-second inclusion. I actually have a finished version of the game without them. So yeah, this one's honestly not the greatest, but I'm still happy I made it. Anything to expand the Grandma Pong universe. Doug Winnie's hiding in this one as well, but I'll leave it up to you to find him. I've put the game up on Newgrounds and also provided a download link for the Swift, just like with Clippy's Windows Defense. Say it with me now, the link is in the description. And there you have it. I remember when I first started game design class back in September 2019, we were told that we would be making 4 games. And now, 2 years later, I'm pretty sure I'm the only one in that class who actually did it. I've graduated now, and looking back, game design was some of the most fun I've had in my entire school career, and something I'll fondly remember for, well, my whole life, I guess. The games I made may not be on par with any of the actual games I've reviewed, but for me it's really more about the journey than the destination. And I've gained a greater appreciation for those games because I know how much work goes into making them. I sincerely thank you for watching this whole thing, mainly because I feel like this is something that literally only I care about. This is a much more personal topic, but I was just so happy I was finally able to get some closure and finish this thing that I had to make a video about it. And hey, the game probably turned out better than it would have if all this didn't happen and I was still in class and had a due date, and the whole situation gave me an interesting story to tell. Funny how things work out. Anyway, I'm gonna go now. I gotta get back to working on your regularly scheduled silly Flash game talk. Go play the games, thanks for all the support, and thank you for watching.